Hello friends, good evening. Welcome to Chandu Biology Classes. So this is a series of 40 most important topics for APPSC and TGPSC JL DL exam, and this series is particularly very important for AP students considering the time that you have left for your examination, that is you hardly have another 10 days. So the content which we are bringing are very important content from your examination point of view, from where the questions have already come. So we are discussing those topics from where we can expect the questions also. Okay, so we have started with modern history, we started with governor generals, and also we did viceroys of India. From there definitely a question will come. And next most important thing is socio-religious reforms, or you can also call socio-religious and also cultural reform movements. Okay, so this is the topic that we will be discussing today. So when it comes to socio-religious reforms, okay, the word reforms itself says, it says what? We are talking about some changes. Okay, we are talking about some changes. Although that much depth or elaborately I need not explain to you. Okay, although I need not explain that much elaborate or depth with respect to reforms or why it happened, all these things, but you should know the background to understand the things in a better way. So reform means what? We are making some changes. Okay, we are making some changes. Okay, so what are these changes? Why we needed some changes? Because there were some social ills or social evils that was happening in the society. So we had to come out of that and progress towards rationality. Okay, what are the social evils? Suppose if I talk about French society or ancient society or whatever, if I talk about French society, okay, let me talk about French society. Okay, we had something called what? We had something called patriarchy. We had something called patriarchy. We had what? We had what? Monarchy. Monarchy. Next what we had? We had something called slavery or slave system. That is master and slave. Master and slave. Okay. Next what we had? What are other social evils that we had? That is, we had something called taxation. Taxation. Okay, there was taxation also. Now in modern society, okay, this is French society, or you can also consider this is true for even ancient Indian society. Okay, ancient Indian society, taxation, and also there was state. State means that the government or the country was run based on religious beliefs. Religious beliefs. Okay, religious beliefs. What about modern society? Modern society, religious beliefs was the supreme law. Was the supreme law. Okay, as you can see, what are the things we had? Okay, you have to observe what are the things we had. We had patriarchy, we had monarchy, we had slave system, we had taxation, and what we had what? That is religious beliefs. Okay, religious beliefs was the what? Religious beliefs was the what it was. Religious beliefs was the basis for judging anything. Religious belief was the supreme law at that time. So definitely we needed some changes. So what was the change that took place? So from patriarchy it came to what? From patriarchy we got something called equal rights. Equal rights for men and women. From monarchy, or we can say even women empowerment. From monarchy in modern society we got something called democracy or republic. Democracy or republic. Democracy, republic, all these things I have told you when I did polity class. Republic means what? Where the head of the state is elected. It is not inherited, the head of the state is elected. Now when it comes to slave system, now we had factory system and trade unions. Trade unions, and also there was workers' rights. Workers also had rights. Okay, now taxation was there, but there were some social security schemes also along with that. Social security for the workers or for the people, that was there in the modern society. Now when it comes to religious beliefs was the supreme law. Now what became? Now constitution is the supreme law, not the religious beliefs. It is constitution is the supreme law of the land. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So these are the changes that took place. These are the reformation that had to happen because these were all seen as social evils. Exactly, they were social evils that was plaguing the society. Because of this, the rich were getting richer and the poor were getting poorer, and there was also a lot of harassment in the society in terms of every way, in terms of patriarchy, in terms of monarchy, in terms of slave system, in terms of taxation. Okay, taxation, that is, there was no proportional taxation, and religious beliefs, what the church says. Okay, I am referring to church because I am talking mostly in terms of French society. What the church says, that is superior. Okay, what the church says, that is superior. Okay, if someone goes against the church, or if they counter the church in some other way, then that was termed as what? That such a person was termed as heretic. Such a person was termed as what? Heretic. Okay, if you are going against the church, speaking against the church, such a person was termed as what? Heretic. Okay, these are all the basics I am talking about. So this was the background of the ancient society, French society, or even you can talk about Indian society. Okay, the priestly class were dominant, and we had something called Varna system. That was Varna system or caste system. Okay, this was there. So to change this, we need certain changes. Okay, to overcome this and to bring something that is where it is good for humanity, we needed something. So there came belief of, there is reason started coming up. Because of reason we got rationality. Okay, and due to rationality what we got, let me change the color. Rationality we got, there is something called science grew. Okay, science of sociology, science of philosophy, science of reason, all this grew. So this era we call it as enlightenment, and along with that it combined with scientific revolution. Total we call this as the period of Renaissance. Okay, the period of Renaissance, that is reform took place. The period of Renaissance. Clear? The reform took place. Clear? Social revolution, this is scientific revolution and enlightenment and Renaissance. So there were various scholars or various thinkers, like we can talk about Karl Marx, we can talk about Locke, Rousseau. Okay, there are various scholars. Okay, you can talk about Plato, Aristotle, Hobbes. So these are the scholars who came up with many of the things. Okay, so these things, they whatever they told, okay, what are the modern ideas they told, that combined and that became the age of enlightenment, coupled with scientific revolution. Okay, steam engine was invented. Okay, and what do we say, assembly line started. All these things, assembly line means mass production started. So all these things gave rise to Renaissance. So that period, that is called Reformation. When in Indian society, what are the things that we had? Okay, what were the social evils that we had? Then how did it change? That is the thing we are going to learn in this chapter. So this is the background of this chapter. So introduction, the Indian society in the early 19th century, okay, witnessed immense social and cultural uproar. That is means immense social and cultural uproar means early 19th century means you should understand it is 1800 to 1900. Early 19th century means between 1800 to 1850 you have to understand social uproar and cultural uproar, because there were social evils. So we have to fight against that. So that is the meaning of uproar. That is, you are protesting against those evils. Okay, all these developments mainly aimed at changing the existing orthodox beliefs of the Indian society. Orthodox beliefs means what? That is, church is supreme. Whatever the priestly class said, that is only final. Okay, there is no need of law or anything. Whatever the priestly class says or whatever the king says, that is supreme. That is the meaning of orthodox beliefs. Okay, so there was arbitrary rule in the empire or the places that people live. So that is the meaning of orthodox beliefs. So they were arbitrary and they were also not following the rule of law. Rule of law means treating everyone equal. So that was not there. So people had to fight against this, and because they had to survive and they had to come up, because of that they had to fight that social evils. So during this period, various forces integrated, which resulted in modification of the prevalent and conservative practices. That is, see here, these are the system that was existent and we came to here. Because of what? Because of science of reason, rationality, science of everything like sociology, philosophy, history, all these things, and also enlightenment and scientific revolution, because of the various ideas given by these scholars. We will come to Indian scholars also, don't worry. And this resulted in Renaissance, and it's challenged the prevalent order, existing order it challenged, and that led to reforms and also various changes in the society. Got it? Now let us learn when it comes to impact of British rule. But before that I'd like to tell you something. Just a minute. Okay, so when it comes to these movements, they are of two types. Okay, they are of two types. One is called reformist movement, and another one is called revivalist movement. Okay, revivalist movement. So suppose when you consider Indian society, we were ruled by the British, and also there were advent of various Europeans. Because of that, our traditional beliefs got affected, and it led to malignation of our existing beliefs. So what I can say, it affected our social order. Okay, this affected our social order. So one of the thing was okay, affected our social order. So one of the thing that you can do is, for this affected social order, you can change the society and go back forward. Okay, go back forward. That is, we call it as reform. Or you change something in such a way that you go back to earlier society that was there. Okay, that is revivalist movement. That is called revivalist movement. So whatever was there, the earlier society was good itself. Okay, we don't want this present society, but we don't want to change to something new. We want to go back to our existing society, that kind of society where we were fine. So that is the meaning of revivalist. Revivalist means the old thing please come back. The old thing has to come back again. That is the meaning of revival. Okay, the word itself says revival. Reform means the existing order you have to change in such a way that you bring something new. That is the meaning of reform movement. Okay, so the religious, socio-religious movements can be categorized into two, that is reform movement and revivalist movement. Now let us see social conditions for certain sections. Okay, what were the factors that influence the socio-religious reform movements? So in this chapter, what are the things that we are going to study? As I can say, first we understood the introduction. What do you mean by socio-religious reform movements? What are the reasons? What are reform movements and also revivalist movements? Then you will understand factors behind these socio-religious reform movements. Then we will see socio-religious reform movements in India in terms of North India, in terms of South India, and this clubbed together we will talk about Hindus, that is socio-religious reform movements under Hinduism, under Islam, okay, and among Sikhs, and also we will talk about South India, various socio-religious reform movements. So first, if we talk about factors that led to the socio-religious reform movements, so social conditions of certain sections. So certain sections of the society, certain sections of people, during these people, the position of women and lower class was depressing. That is, especially the position of women was depressing. She was harassed in every way. Okay, see, harassment can happen through various things. There will be having multiple identity. Suppose I talk about a woman, the gender is one identity, her caste is one identity, and religion is one identity. So she was harassed in every way when it comes to, in terms of gender, in terms of caste, in terms of religion, okay, in terms of occupation also. Got it? So that was a depressing state of women at that time. Now when we talk about various social levels, other things like, what are the things they faced? Sati, child marriage, polygamy, okay, untouchability, stringent caste rules, caste-based segregation were prevalent. This you know, when I talk about Varna system, you understood. That is the meaning of caste-based division. Now all these decaying practices encourage the reform movements. So because of this decaying practices means what? Sati, polygamy, okay, and caste rules, and also child marriage, all these things meant that it was not going to exist for long, because people were not happy with that, especially women, all these people. So what they wanted to reform the society and come out of it. They wanted a better social order. Okay, so that means what? They wanted to reform the society. So all these were playing grounds. Okay, all this set the stage for the reform to happen. Okay, now what are the other factors? Other factors of emergence of new social class. Okay, at that time, because of opening of new sectors in the economy, okay, and also due to various other conditions, the British coming up and also providing job or whatever in different ways, that led to the growth of not just the upper class or not just the lower class, a new section started emerging, that is emergence of middle class, or also you can call it as new middle class. No need to worry about what is middle class and new middle class. That difference you need not know. The middle class was educated working section who understood the social evils of the Indian society and its long term impact as well. When you are educated, you will get aware of the society. When you are aware of the society, you will also understand what are the problems that are prevalent in the society. Okay, so they started understanding the things and they went for reformation. So this section got inspiration from the growing awareness of the developments in the Western countries. At that time, you can see that there were various developments in the Western countries, like French Revolution happened, and also Chinese Revolution happened, and also you can say there was American Revolution. Okay, all these things inspired India. All these things inspired Indians. Okay, educated Indians. This section also understood the link between social and economic growth. Okay, if there is growth in economy, there will be social order. If there is social order, there will be growth in economy. Okay, so they are both interlinked. Okay, hence wanted to reform the social patterns of for social as well as economic growth. So you can say that these educated people, they understood that there should be proper social order, then there will be economic growth. Okay, for the economic growth, there should be proper social order. Everything is interchange. Okay, everything is interlinked. Got it? Everything is interlinked. So you should have a better social order for better economic order. If there is a better economic order, then there will be proper social order. So these educated people started understanding this. So first thing was what? There was need for changes from the social evils to proper social order. Got it? Now this is about educated class. What are the other factors that led to socio-religious reform? One is Western education. You know that in the previous class I told about Macaulay's Minutes and also Wood's Dispatch. The English education started coming in and there were publications in English. So people were educated in English and they were able to read various things. Okay, various things that happened in other countries. So that inspired Indians. And also the role of press. I'll be telling about it in short while. Okay, that meant people started opening up to the events that is occurring world over. Okay, people got to know the things that were happening world over. So because of that inspired Indians. For example, establishment of schools and colleges helped the Western ideas to reach to the masses of India. Masses of means local people. And also introduction of Western education, which emphasizes ideas like rationality, science and reasoning also played a role. Before that, what happened was only religious scriptures were emphasized. But this English education meant that they had to focus on science, rationality and also reasoning also played a role. That means the Enlightenment era that played a major role here. Clear? Next thing is what? It created a section of Indian society called intelligentsia. That is, people who are educated, people who used to think based on reason or rationality or used science as a means for their argument. That kind of people we call it as intelligentsia, not just based on religious scriptures. Okay, telling something based on superstition. It's not that kind of people. These are the people who were rational and who had reason for everything that they were telling. So that kind of people were called intelligentsia. So these are the people who led the reform movements. Clear? And who became the main pioneers of the socio-religious reform movements. For example, Rajaram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, like such kind of people. Okay. Another thing is role of press. Already told you. Press also had a very crucial role to play in circulating ideas of socio-religious reform movements. Okay. What were happening in other countries? What were happening in different parts of India? Okay. That started spreading to other parts of India through the role of press. Okay, it was that with the help of press that ideas of reformers reach the masses. Okay, when I have to tell you something, the medium is I have the YouTube. Same way, the role of press helped the actual social reformers to spread their ideas to the masses. Okay, so the role of press was also a very important factor when it comes to socio-religious reform movements and for their success. Got it? So various papers and books were written during this period to spread awareness about social evils prevalent within India. Okay, when we talk about Rajaram Mohan Rai, when we talk about Rabindranath Tagore like Gitanjali, okay, there is various other novels or scriptures, or you can say their texts or books or publications which they used. Okay, Kesari, Maharatta, that is, you should know the name, who wrote this, all these things you have to comment to me. Okay, these are all the things that they used to spread their ideas. Okay, various people. Now, if I talk about socio-religious reform movements, first thing we will talk about Brahmo Samaj. Okay, so we understood the reasons. One is social conditions of the people, another thing is Western education, okay, emergence of new middle class, and another factor was role of press and also British rule. Okay, these are the things that led to the factors that led to the emergence of socio-religious reform movements. Got it? Now, let us understand Brahmo Samaj. Brahma Samaj was founded by Rajaram Mohan Rai. Okay, first he didn't find Brahma Samaj, he founded Brahma Sabha in 1828. Later it became Brahma Samaj. Okay, so what was his aim? It was aim to purify Hinduism and preach monotheism. Okay, that means what? It is not like it was against Hinduism. It was completely in favor of Hinduism only. Brahma Samaj by Rajaram Mohan Rai. You have to remember, Brahma Samaj was earlier called Brahma Sabha in 1828, and later it changed into Brahma Samaj. It was by Rajaram Mohan Rai. It was to purify Hinduism. That means what? He was against idol practice. He was against idol practice, against polytheism. Polytheism means having multiple gods. He was in favor of monotheism, means one god. Okay, there is one god. Opposed idol worship, priesthood, that means priests were not supreme, superstitions, and social evils like sati, child marriage, and also polygamy. Okay, polygamy means it's marrying more than one, having more than one spouse. That is the meaning of polygamy. Got it? That is the meaning of polygamy. So these are the social evils he fought against: sati, child marriage, and also polygamy. So he was in favor of monotheism. He was not against Hinduism. He wanted to purify or reform Hinduism. That is, he was against idol worship. He was against worshipping multiple gods. He focused on worshipping one god. Okay, one soul, one god. That was his motto. That is Rajaram Mohan Rai. Next thing, when we talk about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, whenever I talk about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, you have to focus that his focus was mainly on upliftment of women. Okay, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was a well educated person. He was from Bengal. Okay, a scholar and reformer. He broke priestly monopoly by opening Sanskrit college. At that time, Sanskrit as a subject or as a language, as a part of knowledge, was accessible only to the Brahmins. Okay, but Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar opened Sanskrit college. It was open to all kind of people. It was open to all sections of the society. So by doing that, he broke the monopoly of the priesthood. Earlier, that time, it was accessible only to the priestly class, or Brahmins or priestly class. But by opening the Sanskrit college, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar made sure that Sanskrit reaches all the sections of the people. Okay, so that was one thing. And fought for widow remarriage. Okay, for this a law was passed in 1856. At that time, who was the Governor General? It was Lord Dalhousie. And women education, focused on women education. So because of that, there was a Bethuna school that was opened in 1849. Who was the president of the Bethuna school? You have to find out. You will ask a question. Bethuna school was set up in 1849 under the leadership of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Who was the president? It was not Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Please find out. Okay, and he was against polygamy and also child marriage. So everything that was oppressive against women, he was also against that practices. So that is about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Now Young Bengal movement, the word itself says it was started in Bengal. Okay, it was started in Bengal under Vivian Derozio in the late 1820s and the 1830s. Okay, Young Bengal, he was also a professor. His students led the movement. Okay, so he promoted liberty, rationalism, equality, and questioned orthodox tradition. Same thing. Everyone questioned those orthodox tradition, that is religious beliefs, which had been plagued by a lot of superstitions. Okay, they were not completely against religious beliefs. Those beliefs which were derogatory to humanity, those beliefs which were derogatory to the survival of women or survival of the vulnerable section, like girls, okay, who are prone to child marriage. All these things they were against. Okay, so he promoted rationalism, equality, and questioned orthodox traditions. Who? This Young Bengal movement under that Vivian Derozio. Inspired by the French Revolution but had limited mass impact. Okay, this Young Bengal movement was inspired by what? I told you Western ideas. One of the Western ideas was French Revolution. Okay, but it had limited impact. Okay, limited impact. It was restricted to Bengal itself, not to other parts of the country. Now, if I talk about Arya Samaj, very important movement. Arya Samaj, definitely question will come. Arya Samaj founded by Swami Dayananda Saraswati in 1875. Okay, Brahmo Samaj, Rajaram Mohan Rai, 1828. Okay, but earlier it was called as what? Brahmo Sabha. Okay, now Arya Samaj, it is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, 1875. Okay, slogan was go back to the Vedas. Okay, Brahmo Samaj, Rajaram Mohan Rai, it was reformist movement. That is, he wanted to change and move forward. But what about Arya Samaj? It is go back to the Vedas. This is revivalist movement. This is what? Revivalist movement. So going back to the Vedas means go back to our old tradition. So this is what Arya Samaj is, revivalist movement. Arya Samaj is what? Revivalist movement, because they are telling go back to the Vedas. So this was founded by whom? Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Definitely you have to remember this. If you have time, when you in free time, do read about him. His wonderful books he has written. Okay, so Swami Dayananda Saraswati in 1875 slogan is what? Go back to the Vedas. Believed thus Vedas are the only source of knowledge. Okay, there were various scriptures, religious scriptures of various religions, but he felt that Vedas are the only and supreme source of knowledge, and mainly Rig Veda. That is what they emphasized. Okay, now when we talk about opposed, but he was against social evils. It doesn't mean that he wanted those religious beliefs which were derogatory to humankind. He wanted to go back to the Vedas. Okay, whatever the good things are there, that he had to follow. But there are social evils like idolatry, magic, sacrifices. Okay, that is Balidan. Okay, sacrifices in the name of something good will happen. Sacrificing, that is sacrificing, killing animals, killing humans. Okay, all these things. Okay, caste system, untouchability, and also child marriage. All these social evils, he fought against that. Who? Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and also under him Brahma, that is Arya Samaj. Established DAV schools. Okay, DAV institutions for boys and girls. Okay, DAV institution for boys and girls. Dayananda Arya Vidyasamsa, something like that. DAV means. Okay, he launched Shuddhi campaign to recover Hinduism from Islam and Christianity. Shuddhi campaign. You have to understand one thing. There was also at that time the Mughals and also British rule in India. Before British, Mughals were ruling India. Okay, that is influence of Islam. Okay, influence of Islam was there, and after that influence of Christianity was there. So under that, some people maybe willingly or forcibly they converted to various other religions. So the Shuddhi movement was to Garvapsi. I can say it as a Garvapsi movement. That is, Shuddhi movement was to bring back those Hindus who converted back to Hinduism. That is the meaning of Shuddhi movement. What is there? I am telling. I am not passing any comments or anything. Here, what is there? What did he do? That is what I am telling. Shuddhi campaign was led by whom? Dayananda Saraswati. That's all you remember. Under whom? Dayananda Saraswati, Arya Samaj, to purify Hindus, to bring them back from Islam and Christianity. Okay, if you willingly want to convert, Constitution completely agrees with it. Forcefully, no. Willingly, absolutely free. Okay, not a problem at all. Okay, so launched Shuddhi movement or Shuddhi campaign. Shuddhi campaign was by whom? Swami Dayananda Saraswati under Arya Samaj. Go back to Vedas, Arya Samaj. Please remember these words. Next, Prarthana Samaj. Okay, Prarthana Samaj with the help of M.G. Ranade. Okay, with the help of Ranade. But who was the actual founder? You have to comment that. Who was the actual founder of Prarthana Samaj? You have to find out and tell me. Who was the actual founder of Prarthana Samaj? With the help of M.G. Ranade, but it was not M.G. Ranade who founded it. He helped them to find it, but it was not him. Okay, next thing is, what does this stand for? Prarthana Samaj. It was fought against casteism, untouchability, promoted women's education, widow remarriage and delayed marriages. Okay, widow remarriage and delayed marriages. Okay, these are the things. Delayed marriages means it was against child marriage, and if you are delaying the marriage, that is good. That means what? You are able to educate the person. That is the meaning of it. Got it? That is the meaning of Prarthana Samaj. That is, it focused on education. It opened libraries, night schools, and established the Widow Remarriage Association in 1861. Okay, Prarthana Samaj established Widow Remarriage Association in 1861. Opened night schools, libraries, because if they are working, even now we have what? Night schools are also evening schools or colleges. Okay, that was present there at that time itself under Prarthana Samaj. So these are the things you have to remember. Mainly person associated with this is M.G. Ranade. Okay, M.G. Ranade. What it is, Narayan? I didn't understand. Your name is A. What is it that you are telling? I am not able to understand. What is Narayan? You are telling the founder of Prarthana Samaj is Narayan. See, I wanted you to comment, but it is not Narayan. Actually, the founder is Atmaram Panduranga. Okay, I wanted you to find out, but actual founder is Atmaram Panduranga. Got it? AAA, AAA. That is what you are written, your name. That's okay. So the founder is Atmaram Panduranga. I wanted you to search, but it's okay. I have given it. It is Atmaram Panduranga. Okay, along with the help of whom? M.G. Ranade. Mahatma, that is Mahadev Govinda Ranade. Clear? Now, let us study about next important mission, that is Ramakrishna mission. Next is what? It is Ramakrishna mission. So it was who founded this Ramakrishna mission? You have to know, very important person, Swami Vivekananda in 1897. He was a disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, that is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, that is different. This is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was the guru of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda founded what? Ramakrishna mission to carry forward the ideas of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Got it? So promoted charity, service, upliftment of women and also lower caste, emphasized Vedanta. Okay, Vedanta, started schools, hospitals and dispensaries. Who? Swami Vivekananda under Ramakrishna mission. Okay, even now we have Ramakrishna Vidyalayas in various states. Okay, now when I talk about go back to Vedas, it is Arya Samaj. Go back to Vedas, it is Arya Samaj, it is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and Brahma Samaj, it was to purify Hinduism. Okay, and Brahma Samaj is Rajaram Mohan Rai, but when it comes to Arya Samaj, it is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, it is revivalist movement, it is go back to Vedas. Vivekananda, Ramakrishna mission. Okay, Ramakrishna mission. Okay, Ramakrishna mission, it focused on Vedanta philosophy. Focused on Vedanta philosophy, don't get confused. Okay, go back to Vedas is what? Arya Samaj. What about Vedanta philosophy? Ramakrishna mission, that is under Swami Vivekananda. Okay, preach Neo-Hinduism and also universal oneness of God. That is, it focused that Neo-Hinduism means it is saying that all gods are nothing but one, oneness of God. Okay, there are different some forms of God, but there is a single God. That is the meaning of oneness of God. Clear? So this is about when we talk about Ramakrishna mission. Alright, so these are the things we studied today. When we talk about this thing, when we talk about Socio-Religious Reform Movements, still some content is left, still some topics are left that will be dealt in the next class, where we will be dealing about other reform movements, that reforms that brought about by Ambedkar ji and also Mahatma Gandhi ji, and also when we talk about Muslim reform movements like Wahhabi movement and all these things, and Sikh reform movements like Nirankari movement or Gurudwara entry movement, Gurudwara movement, all these things. And also when we talk about South India, we have something like, what are the reform movements that we have? Self-respect movements like by E. Ramaswamy, all these things. Okay, all these things we will be studying in the next class. I will wind up now. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you. Please keep revising this. It will be definitely be helpful. Okay, please remember the names and also the founder and what it stood for. That's enough. Alright, I will wind up now. Thank you. Please take care. MCQs, AAA, MCQs we will solve in the next class. Okay, in the next class we will be completing the entire Socio-Religious Reform Movements, and at the end of that we will be doing the MCQs. Okay, MCQs are also there. Okay, let me check whatever the MCQs that we have. Based on the content that we have done, let us see if we can solve any of the MCQs. Okay. So, who founded the Arya Samaj in 1875? Today, just now we discussed who founded the Arya Samaj. Kindly answer, who founded the Arya Samaj? Okay, Arya Samaj stood for go back to Vedas. Okay, purify Hinduism and bring back, what to say? Bring back Hindus who converted to other religions, all these things. Okay, so who founded the Arya Samaj in 1875? It is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. It is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Okay, I hope, yes, correct. B is the right answer. Okay, AAA, that's good. That means you are focusing on the class, that's good. Okay, Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Rajaram Mohan Rai, it is Brahma Samaj. Swami Vivekananda, it is Ramakrishna mission. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, that is different. Now, which movement was started by Jyotiba Phule? Still we have not done this. Who is considered as the founder of the Ramakrishna mission? Who is considered as the founder of the Ramakrishna mission? Who is considered as the founder of the Ramakrishna mission? Is it Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? No. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his ideals were followed in Ramakrishna mission. But founder is Swami Vivekananda. The answer is what? Answer is A. It is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, Vedanta philosophy, all these things you have to remember when I talk about Ramakrishna mission. Clear? Next. Next question. It is not Paramahamsa, it is Swami Vivekananda. Reconvert Hindus from Islam and Christianity. Which movement aimed to reconvert Hindus from Islam and Christianity? That is Shuddhi campaign. Shuddhi campaign under whom? Under Arya Samaj. Who was that? Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Okay, here it is Shuddhi campaign. Understood? Okay, this is under Shuddhi campaign. Shuddhi campaign aimed at purifying Hinduism by reconverting those who converted to Islam and Christianity. So these are the things we discussed. We will solve Yeah, B Shuddhi campaign, that is the right answer, that's good. So please keep following the classes, definitely it will be helpful for you. Okay, in the upcoming week we will be having at least 2 classes in a day, so that we cover most of the things. It will be very content loaded, so please focus and make notes whenever possible, and do share it with your friends, definitely it will be useful. So Shuddhi campaign, if they ask, it is Swami Dayananda Saraswati, it focuses on reconverting Hindus. So these are the things you have to remember. Alright, I will wind up now. In the next class we will be completing the chapter on Socio-Religious Reform Movements, and then we will be doing the MCQs. Okay, we will be doing the MCQs, remaining MCQs, and we will be done with this content, and then we will go to 1857 revolt and formation of Congress, that is we will do Indian national movement at least in 2-3 classes, then history will be done. Alright, I will wind up now. Thank you, take care. Okay, fine.